So today I'm having a day of random food. So I'm taking this and that and making new things out of it and trying to get rid of bits and pieces of food. I still haven't gone shopping since Christmas except for that $10 produce haul that I'm still working on. So I still have one romaine left, one whole romaine, and I have some chopped up lettuce. I still have some radishes left. So all that needs to be eaten up. I'm making some, I had 2 tea bags. They were mint that I made 1 cup of tea out of each one. And so I put the 2 used tea bags in this mason jar, warmed it up in the microwave, and I'm making more tea with it because there's still good tea left in those 2 tea bags. So I'm making that. I had some crusts of bread, so I tore those up in pieces. I have 2 apples that are getting to be like shrunken apples, so I'm going to use those. This oat milk, it's only good until, let's see, the 23rd, so I have to use that up. My grandson doesn't drink it, so it's about half full, so I need to use that up. And then I'm going to put some apple butter in with that, and I'm going to make an apple rice bread pudding. So I'm going to make that, and I'll show you what else I'm going to put together. So I also have a couple of eggs that I'm going to put with the bread pudding. So that'll be some breakfast that I'll put together for a couple days. And then for dinner, this is going to be really weird, but I want to use it up. So my neighbor gave me a big spaghetti squash that I cooked up, and I've already eaten a couple meals from it. And it's seasoned with savory spices. I put some salt and pepper, some sage, what else? Some Italian seasoning. So I have that. So I want to use that up, and I have some little random piece of macaroni and cheese that I made for my grandson. So I'm going to use that up. And I have a little bit of spaghetti sauce left. I have some roasted garlic hummus that I want to use up. I have some sour cream. Normally I don't eat a lot of dairy, but a lot of this stuff is left over still from Christmas. And this is good until the 27th, so I want to use that up. I have a portion of onion, and I have some little mini peppers here that need to go. I'm going to cut some of those up and put those in there, and then I'm going to dehydrate the rest. So that will be dinner, and I usually don't eat lunch. Sometimes I have a snack, but I'm making some Franken meals today. I want to use up all this stuff. I'm not going shopping till the beginning of February, and so far so good. And so I'll be back later and show you what I made.
Yay!
Okay, I'm making my bread pudding, and I have chopped up, sorry for the mess here, I have chopped up the 2 apples. I've got a little bit of orange peel that I want to use. I have a very petrified orange, but it's still got juice on the inside. I beat up the 2 eggs. So, and then I found in my pantry some dried fruit, and I want to use this up, so I took some of that, but I don't want to use the bananas. I just want the raisins, and I think there's a little bit of pineapple and some mango in there, so I want to use that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the orange juice to the egg, and I'm just going to use this. I can't even squeeze it. I could have made a dried orange for potpourri out of this, but it's been floating around here for a while. So I'm just going to take the juice and I'm going to juice it up so it'll have a little bit of an orange flavor with this. And actually you could take the peel, since it's already dry, let it sit out for a little bit and make more orange peel out of it, and that's what I think I'm going to do. So there was quite a bit of juice in there. So use up what you have. You know, I mean, get creative with your cooking, make it fun. Alright, so that's the orange juice. So I won't need quite as much oat milk because the apples are going to have a little bit of moisture too, and I don't have a ton of bread here because I don't want to eat this casserole for the next week. So I'm just going to stir the orange up with the egg, and I'm going to add, this is vanilla, add about a teaspoon of vanilla. I like vanilla, it can be a little more, no problem. And I'm going to put, about, let's see, 3/4 of a teaspoon maybe, half a teaspoon of the orange peel. That's going to go in there. And then I'm going to put some apple butter in there. And I'll use, a good couple heaping tablespoons of apple butter. It sounds good. I don't know if it's going to be good, but it sure sounds good. I mean, how can you go bad with apples and oranges? And so I'm going to mix that up. This is what it looks like so far. And I'm going to add a little extra cinnamon in here. I mean, the apple butter does have cinnamon in it, but... And then I'm going to put in some milk. So I'll start with maybe half a cup of milk. I can find half a cup. Well, here we go. So I'm going to start with half a cup of milk and see how much liquid that makes. And this is oat milk. Don't forget to shake up your oat milk. Shake it up. Yeah, I really want to get this used up because food's expensive. And it's getting more so. And anything, you know, like especially with vegetarian and vegan cooking, anything you make with cashews or nuts, I mean, they're really expensive, so you don't want to waste food. So I think half a cup might be enough. I'm going to put the bread in. Oh, before I do that, I have to get some cinnamon, so hang on. Alright, I have half a teaspoon of cinnamon that's going in here. I got this big huge thing of ground Saigon cinnamon at Costco. That's going to last me forever. And mix that up a little bit. Oh, and I forgot, I need something to make it sweet. First of all, I'm going to put a little salt in because salt brings out sweet. Not much, just a little bit because you don't want it salty. You just want to enhance the sweetness. And I'm going to put in some stevia. And this one happens to be Trivia, and I want to get this used up. So this is supposedly teaspoon. 1 teaspoon of this is equal to 1 teaspoon of sugar. So I'm going to put in, this is really small, this is like half a teaspoon. I'm going to put in that much. They do it to taste. I know there's egg in here, but I'm still going to give it a little taste. So I'll be back when I get this mixed up. Alright, so that was a couple of heaping tablespoons of sugar or sweetener or whatever, but do it to taste. So now I'm going to put my bread in. And this was like, maybe it was the ends of the bread and a slice. So like 4, 5 slices of bread. So I'm going to mix this up. Get a spoon. I'm going to put the apple in there too. Now this would be good with raisins or cranberries or blueberries, whatever dried fruit you have. But like I said, I want to use this up, so I'm going to put that in. And that kind of has a little bit of everything in there. So anyway, I'm going to mix this up. And I'll see once the bread soaks up the liquid if I need to add any more. And if I do, I will add a little bit more of the oat milk and just a little bit more of the sweetener, depending on how much oat milk I add. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to bake this at 350. And I'm going to check it in, a half hour, 45 minutes. I've never made this before, so I'm not sure how long it's going to take. But I think it'll be delicious. And then I will probably serve it with a little whipped cream and maple syrup on top. I think that would be delicious. And so there is Franken meal number 1. And I think what I mixed up is enough. It seems like the bread is soaking it up nicely. There's not a whole lot of liquid left. So, and the apples will let off some more liquid as they bake too. So this is what it looks like. Looks yummy. So that's it. And I'll be back in a little while and finish up my other meal for the day, and I'll show you what I do with that. Yummy, so good. Okay, bread pudding is done. It was just the right amount of liquid. I did it for 350 for a half an hour. That seems to have been enough. All the liquid is absorbed, and I'm going to give it a little taste and see if it's any good. So the apples are nice and cooked. They're not mushy. Looks good. And this would be great. It's still warm. Be great with a little maple syrup and whipped cream. So let me try it. Oh, that is so good. That is so good. So use your leftovers and see what you can come up with. It's really delicious. So if you have some bread hanging around that you don't know what to do with, or those crusts, another thing you can use the bread crusts for, instead of hamburger buns, you can use them when you have a burger. It's the same thing as buying those little thin things that you can buy. But give this a try. This is really, really tasty with the orange and the oat milk. It's very good. So I'll be back later with my second meal. Yummy.
Yummy, yummy.
I just wanted to show you guys real quick. I'm looking through my fridge and see what else I need to come up with and clean up. These are mushrooms I dehydrated in my refrigerator. They're really nice and dry. And all I do when I buy mushrooms, I got tired of throwing them away if I left them too long. I just take the plastic off the container and I leave them open in the refrigerator, or I put them in a paper bag, and that way they don't get slimy. Before they start to get slimy, they start to dehydrate. And give them a shake every now and then. But so now I have a handful of dehydrated mushrooms for later on. You can store these in a jar, you can store them in a baggie. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Dehydrate your mushrooms in your fridge. No dehydrator needed. Alright, well, what I decided to do was cut up that piece of onion and the peppers, and I'm just going to take most of this and add some fajita seasoning to it. The peppers were starting to go bad, so I wanted to get those cooked up. So I'm going to let those cook for a minute, and that is going to go into a little container and go into the fridge. And if I don't eat it within the next couple days, I'm going to freeze it. So that will make another meal. Alright, I'm not going to cook these so that they're mushy. And I did not add any seasoning to this because some of it I may use as fajitas or tacos or something along those ways. And I might use some of it for another dish, so they are unseasoned. I didn't even add salt and pepper. So I'm going to store those. And then, in this same pan, I'm going to, there's still a little oil in there, not much, but there's some, what do you want to call it? From the peppers and the onions, there's some charring going on down there. So I have this little tiny bit of cream cheese that I want to use up. And I'm going to put this in my other dish that I'm making. So I want to melt this a little bit. So I'm going to put that in right in the pan here. And let that melt a little bit. Because this I'm going to create another meal out of. So far, out of things that I have in my refrigerator, this is the third meal now I'm creating. So I want to melt this down just a little bit, and then I'm going to add this to the rest of that tomato, the cheese spaghetti sauce. So I'm going to just turn this on very low, and this is going to be like a pasta spaghetti squash casserole, and hopefully it'll be good. But I wanted to get all the little bits from the peppers and onions that are left in the pan, because that's a lot of good flavor. So I wanted to get all that and mix it in with the cream cheese. And this is going to make a real creamy tomato type sauce. So I'm going to add the tomato sauce now. And I'll be back when I get that all mixed up. I wanted to tell you too, I like these jars. This is from Aldi's, and it's the Priano brand. And I like these jars because they have measurements on the side. So I always use these to, You can use them to can in, you can use them to mix things in. So those are great. Get a free mason jar with that. So I'm going to mix this up, and it'll turn into a nice creamy sauce. It'll be nice and flavorful. And it's a good way to use up the cream cheese and the tomato sauce and create a whole nother dish. Now I might add some veggie meatballs to this. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do, but for now I'm just going to mix this up, and I'll be back when I put this together. Alright, well, we're just getting weirder and weirder here, but I just mixed some of this up and it does taste really good. But I have this garlic hummus, and it's garden fresh roasted garlic hummus that I need to use up. So guess where this is going? Yep, this is going in there too. And this will add a lot of protein because it is made with chickpeas. This will add some protein to the sauce and make it really creamy. And it will get rid of something else in my fridge. So, and I did mix a little bit of this together already, and it really is tasty. So I'm going to let this cook for a little while and then mix it with my mac and cheese and my spaghetti squash and put the casserole together. Alright, you guys, this sauce is so delicious. And the reason I make some of these videos, these Frankenmeal videos, is just to show you to try and use up the food that you have and recreate something new with it. Because I know I get tired of eating the same thing over and over again with leftovers, but for me, I always have leftovers because it's very difficult to cook for 1 or 2 people. So I try to come up with new meals, and sometimes they're good and sometimes not, but you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So that was the spaghetti squash that I just put in there. Now I don't know, after I get this mixed up, I may have to cook a little more pasta and add it. But this is the macaroni and cheese, and I just want to heat this up a little bit before I stick it in my casserole dish. But I know this sauce is delicious. If you have hummus, it's very easy to use it in cooking recipes. And like I said, it adds a little protein to your meal. So, and for this, you could even add a little bit of angel hair pasta or, you know, anything like that if you don't have enough. And this is looking like it might need a little bit more pasta. But here, you know, I took something that I normally maybe would make 1 meal, and this is at least 3 meals for me. So you can stretch your food if you think of creative ways to do it. So I'm just going to give this a little taste to see how it tastes. Like I said, the sauce is really delicious, but I want to see how it tastes with the squash. That's really good. Really, really good. So I'm going to bake this for a little bit. And I decided not to put sour cream in it because the cream cheese was plenty. So I'm going to use the sour cream when I make my fajitas with the peppers and onions, because those peppers were going bad and they needed to be cooked. So I'm going to put this in the casserole. I'll be back. So I decided I do need some more noodles in here because that's an awful lot of sauce. So I went in my pantry and I found these garlic and parsley cholesterol-free noodles. So I'm going to just zap these for a little bit in the microwave to soften them a little bit. And then I'm going to add this sauce to the softened noodles, and then I'm going to bake it. So I'm using that up too. All right, so my pasta is done. I cooked up a little more pasta, and I just zapped this up in the microwave. Keep an eye on it if you're going to do it that way, because it'll boil over. But this is al dente, so you don't want to cook it till it's mushy. So I'm just going to drain that off a little bit. And it's okay if some of the pasta water stays in there because it makes it creamier. All right, so I'm going to add this to my casserole dish. And then I'm going to add the sauce with the other pasta in it. And it doesn't matter if it's not all the same pasta. You know, I mean, I had the macaroni and cheese, that was already cooked. And now this and the spaghetti squash. So this is just to show you that, you know, not particularly following a recipe, but if you have a lot of leftovers, okay, now this is going in. If you have a lot of leftovers, you can create something totally different and delicious and stretch your meals out a lot. So this makes a fairly good sized casserole. It's enough for 4 anyway. And so I'm probably just going to end up freezing some of this because it's going to be too much otherwise. And it's really tasty. I know it doesn't sound like it would all go together, but if you learn what flavors kind of go together, it's easy to create your own dishes. It's just really easy. So I'm going to give this a little taste. I'm not going to bake this yet because it's still early in the afternoon, and I'm going to have this for dinner. But it's really tasty. And you wouldn't think using the hummus would be the thing to do, but hummus makes a great sauce. You know, depending on what you add it to, it just makes it really creamy. So this is what it looks like. And I'm going to probably put some panko or something on the top of it later. But right now I'm going to taste it, see if it needs any more seasonings. That is so good. It's creamy. It's tomatoey. It's got a little bit of a tang to it. It's really tasty. All right, my friends, so that's a couple meals that I've made for myself today from just scraps that I had. And it stopped me from going to the store and buying more things when I already have things. So if you're trying to save money, try giving this a go. Try combining your leftovers, because this will make at least 4 meals. The bread pudding will make at least 4, because, you know, you figure a little portion. So the bread pudding, and then this, the taco mix, I'm just going to add some veggie grounds. If you eat meat, you add some hamburger, some taco seasoning. So that's enough for another 2 meals. So just for a few leftovers, I got 10 meals. Can't beat that. So, and those are things that normally you just kind of go, oh, that's not enough for anything, and you just kind of throw it away. So anyway, I'm done cooking for the day. I'm going to go put my feet up a little bit and read my book. I'm reading a book that it's women who shop too much. And I've had the book for years, and I wasn't quite sure when the book was written. And I just never read it because I'm a good one for doing that. I'll buy things and it's like, oh yeah, I want to read that, or yeah, I want to do this project. And it's one thing I'm learning, that I need to stop buying projects for myself until I'm actually ready to do them. So not buying ahead so much is really helping me out. But as I started to read the book, I realized the book was written sometime in the 80s, because it was talking about what malls were going to look like in the 90s, and and it was kind of off on that. But so I'm going to go read that a little bit and get some new ideas. All right, my friends, that's all I have for you today. And use your abundance. You know it's there. You just need to look. And I love you guys. And I'll see you next time.